Airbnb spent over $4 million trying to overturn this New Jersey law that could be the one thing that stops you from making money. Today, I'm going to take you through which towns in New Jersey have banned Airbnbs and what you need to know before you buy an investment property that you plan to rent out short term. Hi, I'm DJ Tenhove, and I've been a realtor since 2008. My team and I have helped thousands of people just like you buy their first home, upgrade to their dream house, or downsize inside or outside of New Jersey to get closer to family, with hundreds of repeat clients and 5-star reviews to prove it. In today's video, first we're going to take you through what towns are doing to combat Airbnb and short-term rentals and why they even care. Then we'll go through which areas you should be targeting for this type of an investment property in order to make sure that you actually make money. And lastly, we'll walk you through a current list of towns that have banned Airbnb to make sure that you're not walking into a big mistake. For the purposes of today's video, we're going to use the term Airbnb and short-term rental interchangeably. Airbnb is like HomeAway and VRBO. They're short-term rental companies that make the transaction and marketing easier, but you don't need a company like that in order to do a short-term rental, which you can do on your own or with a real estate agent. First, why do towns even care about Airbnb and trying to shut it down? Here in New Jersey, the rules that govern who can and cannot rent a property out fall under a larger heading referred to as the Continuing Certificate of Occupancy, or CCO. Every town in New Jersey has this process that basically ensures whether you're selling or renting a property, that the property is safe for the next inhabitant. In some towns, it's as simple as just a fire inspection, and in other towns, it's a whole lot more complicated. These same ordinances can dictate how long you can rent a property out for and to how many different people you can rent it out to during a specific period of time. Okay, so let's stop there and give you some context. Airbnb sounds like an amazing way to make some money on an extra room in your house, commonly known as house hacking, or to make money on your property when you're traveling elsewhere by having somebody rent it while you're away. So why would a town care to shut this down? First, people renting out private residences take traffic away from the existing hotels and bed and breakfasts and inns that might already exist in that town. Second, the towns would lose out on income that was typically paid by lodgers. Now, Airbnb and municipalities have come to an agreement on this across the country now that has mostly fixed this problem. But up until a couple of years ago, this was the biggest reason why towns were fighting back against Airbnb. And third, Airbnb properties get a lot of complaints from neighboring residents because of guests that are staying up and partying late into the night and making noise. I mean, it's basically like dropping a motel directly into a residential neighborhood, right? And lastly, because of these private properties not getting inspected and certified like a hotel or a bed and breakfast, there's no way for the town to certify and be sure of the health and safety for the people who are going to come and stay there. All right, so now you know why towns are looking to ban it, but how exactly do they go about doing that? Well, towns can change and update their CCO policies at any time. Some towns just straight up ban short-term rentals and Airbnbs and limit rentals to only 30 days or longer. Other towns will make the owner and landlord register the unit for rental and pay a fee to do so, and then pay a fee every time a new tenant needs to move into the property and get an inspection every time a new tenant moves in, and also pay a fee for that. I mean, at some point, the cost and logistics of this just get so prohibitive that people just give up. Just because some towns have banned Airbnb doesn't mean they all do, or that renting out a property to short-term tenants is a bad idea or bad business. In fact, it's actually a very lucrative business in some cases. So, if you're thinking about doing this in New Jersey, what criteria should you start with to make sure you find a good Airbnb investment that will actually make you money? First, you want to pay attention to areas that are close to attractions. Here in New Jersey, that means close to Manhattan, the Jersey Shore, and our ski towns. Second, competition is your enemy. Rather than focusing on big cities that have a lot of hotels that you'd be competing with, focus on medium-sized towns that have fewer hotels, bed and breakfasts, and vacation rentals. Third, stay away from seasonality. Generally, long off seasons will cost you more in the long run. But here in New Jersey, there are some beach towns that go completely against this advice, and the premium you get to charge in the summer more than makes up for the seasonality. And lastly, focus on areas that have lenient Airbnb laws and short-term rental policies. We covered this earlier, so I know you know what could happen to you if you don't, but a good rule of thumb is to focus on areas that had really strong short-term rental markets before Airbnb ever became a thing. Here in New Jersey, that means specifically focusing on the beach towns from Point Pleasant down to Cape May. The northern beach towns like Asbury Park and Long Branch aren't so short-term rental friendly. All right, so that brings us to Santa's naughty list. These are just some of the towns currently in New Jersey that have either outright banned Airbnb properties or have made it so difficult and restrictive that it's just not worth it. For all those reasons we gave you earlier in the video, towns like Cresskill, Englewood Cliffs, Fort Lee, Glen Rock, and Palisades Park have all just straight up banned it. More recently, a big town, Weehawken, which is a North Jersey town that sits directly across the Hudson River from Manhattan, just banned Airbnbs as of December of 2022. Remember earlier in the video I told you about Airbnb spending $4 million? Well, that's what they spent on a campaign in Jersey City to overturn one of the laws, and they lost. Although Jersey City does allow short-term rentals, the red tape is insane. First, you can't rent a property out there for more than 60 nights during the year, and you need to make sure that the unit's registered with the city. And you need to fill out a litany of paperwork about every new tenant before they move in, and you need to get an inspection done, which comes with other fees. So, moral of the story, no Airbnb in JC. For all our South Jersey folks, Cherry Hill has also banned it. And here in Monmouth County, just a few weeks ago, the Town Council of Red Bank voted to ban Airbnbs. Now that's under review right now by the mayor to potentially be vetoed, so we'll see what happens. But Asbury Park, also here in Monmouth County, is one of the most popular places in all of New Jersey to come and visit. And their rules around short-term rentals and Airbnb are super confusing. Yes, you can rent out your property on short term, but only if it's your primary residence, not if it's an investment property. Basically, the town is trying to stop investment companies from coming in and turning residences into hotels. All right, so now you understand why towns are fighting this so hard, how to identify the right location for your next Airbnb investment, and which towns to stay away from. Make sure to subscribe down below so you'll get alerted when I drop part 2 of this video series, where I'll take you through the best towns in New Jersey that actually do allow Airbnb and have the best return on their investment.